Yeah, I think it's just like a really organic kind of evolution. You know, like when I started doing stuff with Vice, it was with Munchies, right? And like always wanted to be a part of Vice. You know, growing up, um, I worked at this restaurant in Toronto called Le Select Bistro. Across the street was the Vice used to have stores, and early 2000s, the Vice store was right across the street from the restaurant I worked at. And I was like, you know, one of those like punk kids who worked in kitchens, and Vice was really cool. It was the magazine. It was like the magazine, right? And so like I would hang out there all the time and kind of got into Vice pretty, you know, I loved Vice, and they never did food. You know, it wasn't a cool thing. It wasn't anything to them. You know, they were always about the drugs or the, you know, crazy stories about everyone everywhere. And and like when Munchie started, I was like, yo, I want to do something with you guys. Now you guys are in my lane. Like you guys are, you know, this is what I've been waiting for, because this is something I've never wanted to do, like mainstream stuff or anything like that. I've always been, you know, more of an outsider, or like somebody that says like F that. And when they started doing the food stuff, I started blowing up my boys in Canada at Vice, and it was just like, yo, I want to do something. I want to do something. I want to do something. They're like, okay, okay. They're like, we got something for you. We want to do something. We're going to work on something with you. I was like, okay. And we did hangover cures. So I think that only lives like on YouTube now. But I did 3 episodes of hangover cures where I would take a chef and get them as, I can swear, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where I take a chef, get him as fucked up as possible, and then the next day the chef would cook me a hangover cure.
Oh, cool.
So there's only 3 of them, and then we were making those shows, and then that was kind of like at the height of my absolute like insanity. And it was after I had my heart attack, and I kept drinking, I kept partying, I had this like Superman ego, and I thought I was like indestructible. No one could tell me no. No one could tell me to stop. I was just like this maniac. And then I had to stop. You know, like
you had to, right? And
yeah,
that's where the name Dead Set on Life comes from, right? From a Canadian band, is that right?
yeah. Like so, Liam, the singer for Cancer Bats, which is the theme song
Best
to our
name
show,
ever.
Yeah,
Cancer Bats.
Cancer Bats, great band. Love those dudes.
I like Chemo Bats.
Yeah, chemo bats. That yin yang. And when I was in the hospital, Liam would come visit me like every day. A bunch of people would come and visit me, all my good friends. And Liam was writing an album at that time with Cancer Bats. And he wrote this. The album is called Dead Set on Living. And he wrote this song called Dead Set on Living. And the song on the album, we all got these tattoos because this story's kind of funny. So me and Brian Richer, a partner at our restaurant Parts and Labor and Castor Design, he and I are huge like Husker Du fans, and we wanted to open a bar called. They have a song called "Dead Set on Destruction." It's this super morose, super gnarly song,
intense.
And we wanted to open up the most insane, shitty dive bar called Dead Set on Destruction.
Brilliant.
And when I was in the hospital, Brian, we were all kind of in there, a bunch of us at one time, and we're all making jokes, and we're like, I guess you're not dead set on destruction. And Liam was like, I think you're dead set on life. And it and it wasn't like that big moment. It wasn't like, oh, dead set on life.
Yeah,
I'm going to make a TV show. And it was just like years later, right? And there's a few of us that have like DSOL tattoos. And I think, you know, it just kind of, I didn't want to show with a stupid, like, Matty eats, Matty travels. Like, there's so many stupid food shows about traveling and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, I just want to, I want to show that a name that doesn't really have, like, it's Dead Set on Life with Matty Matheson, but it's like, I wanted to show that its name stood by its own thing and made people think a little bit. And, you know, a lot of people still are like, you had a heart attack, you're still fat fuck, and like all this kind of stuff. And they give me kind of grief. And I'm like, well, I gave up, you know, drinking, and you don't know how much drinking I did, and you don't know how much drugs I was doing every day.
Yeah,
so
you're doing the best you can do in the healthy version of you.
Yeah,
I don't like skinny chefs.
No.
You wouldn't be on the show if you're like really skinny or something like that.
Imagine if I was
If you're
like some real
vegan,
frail.
can't be on the show.
No.
Can't eat your food.